So,
Ooh.
anyone who is going through the same type of thing that I'm going through, here's a couple words of advice, okay? Number one, do not put your arms around the girl when you're kissing.
Yeah, no.
Number one. Number one. That is like
Did you
rule
get that
number
from like
one
the
A,
movie trope? Like,
the movie trope. Yep, I got it from the movie trope.
yeah.
Women, they don't, funny enough, they don't like that.
Well, I wouldn't say
They
all
think
women, but the ones that I have met and dated or have talked to, most of the time, not a big fan.
yeah, very much so.
And if you've ever kissed someone, it's not a very passionate kiss when it's like that either. It's just kind of like,
Oh no, it's
Oh.
very awkward.
yeah, it's just...
Super awkward.
Anyway, sorry, I'll let you continue.
No, you're good, you're good. Rule number two, and this one's a big one for the fellas out here, so I'm gonna speak very closely into the mic, like an ASMR. Do not, and I repeat, do not be clingy.
Ooh.
I cannot tell you how many times I've seen people do this, and then they cry a week later saying, I don't know what I did wrong. Guys, I may be single, but I know this rule because I have lived this rule. I was
Okay.
too clingy.
I feel like it works for both sides, though. That's my thing with that.
Can't.
If
Yes. it
if
does.
girls are too clingy, it's not good.
No, it's not. It's not. It's
Just-
really bad.
Both be kind of like, yeah, we're our own people. Like,
Yeah, we're our own
it-
people,
it
but we're
helps.
an item. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it, that was just something. This was my second time ever dating somebody. So I made that mistake as well, and I was super clingy with her. I was always holding on to her. I was always happy and jovial, and when I was around her, and I would always be very stern and upset when I wasn't. Like a pouty little bitch.
Which you are not. No.
No, well, not anymore. No, but rule number 3, and this kind of goes hand in hand with rule number 2. Give them their space. They need space.
This
If you
episode's
can-
just gonna be
if you-
called Gingy's dating advice.
It's not dating advice. It's more like how not to be alone forever. How not
So
to be a
dating
nice guy.
advice.
How about that? How not to be a nice guy.
How not to be a nice guy. That's a good title.
hmm
But no,
I would say if you spend more than 55% of your time with her, you need to back off.
especially like in early relationship
Yeah.
stages, like
Oh yeah, absolutely.
if it gets in like year or two,
If they-
and then
if
it's
they-
like,
if they-
hey, let's like move on. That's fine.
I would also like to point out it's more so how they react to it. If they like being around you, they'll be around you. If they don't, if they need their space, let them have their space. You don't need to know every movement that they make. They're not gonna cheat on you, goddammit.
Yeah, no. Like I'll admit. So when me and Sammy first
I mean-
started dating, she was super
Mhm.
clingy, and that actually was a
Mhm.
really big issue because I recently actually had a breakup that did not end personally well with me and all this, and so
Yeah,
I kind of powered through it, but it was just like one of those things where like for I'd say 6 months it definitely was like, oh, I don't like this. Like,
yeah, it was more of a, what the hell are you doing? I kind of want to be alone, but thank you for the offer?
yeah,
It's kind of like that, yeah.
it was one of those things that literally, like, when it got to the point where I was like, okay, this is bugging me, all I did was talk to her about it, and she was just like, oh, okay. And I was like, oh,
Yeah, my bad. yeah.
awesome. So,
And-
like, we're both good? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, oh, great. Like, good sign.
So yeah, people need their space, dude. I mean, how would you feel if this person was around you 24/7, 7 days a week, wondering about your every move? That's not a relationship, that's prison.
Stalking.
Yeah. It's very, you can tell when people want their space.
Yeah.
Just make sure that you are more than able to see it. Okay?
Just don't get caught up in the moment, like, because when you like get your first girlfriend too, it's like one of those things, or even boyfriend, but it's like you're just like, oh, I did it, I made it, yes, and so you're just like,
yes.
yeah, and so it's one of those things where you're like, I fell in love, this is the person I'm gonna be with forever, and it's one of those things where it's just like, don't try not to get caught up in that moment, but at the same time, don't be like a heartless shill, like.
Yeah, don't be a yandere, okay?
Yeah.
I think I'm up to number 4 now.
So
just remember, my fellow viewers, I broke every single one of these cardinal sins.
Without hesitation.
So, yeah, I did, without hesitation. And this is just something I wish people had told me. So I'm trying to be helpful. I'm trying to be a nice guy. Well, I'm not trying to be a nice guy. I'm just trying to speak the facts, you know?
I'm trying to convey what I have learned to everyone else who hopefully has not learned these lessons yet, so you don't get in the same circumstances.
Yes. I would say number 5, jealousy is the ender of most relationships.
Si, senor.
And I still have trouble with this. I still have trouble with this, I'm not gonna lie. Just because I have a lot of trust issues.
I think jealousy also goes off of just like A, past experiences, and then B, like if you don't know the person that well and they're like kind of just even acting a bit sketchy, the human nature is immediately to be like, what are you up to?
Like be skeptical.
Yeah.
It's okay. And if you are skeptical, be honest. Do not hide it. Do not be that person. Do not be the passive-aggressive, oh, I know you're cheating on me, but I'm not going to prove it because I want to save the relationship because ABC. Do not do that. If you feel like your trust is being betrayed, be honest. Be like, yo, I need to talk to you about something because I know some weird things going on. And I'm not trying... And that goes back into rule 3, don't be clingy. You know, like...
Pretty much, the main rule is when you're dating, just communicate. Like, communication really is kind of important.
Yeah, believe it or not, females are allowed to have guy friends, and guy friends are allowed to have female friends, even if they're exes.
What?
You're allowed to be friends with whomever you want to be friends with. If you... Look, I would say be a lot more skeptical if you're a cheating piece of shit. But
yeah, if they've cheated in the past, it kind of gives more incentive to be cautious about it.
Yes, but people are allowed to live their own lives, and they are allowed to be friends with whoever they want to be friends with. If you notice that they're getting a little too buddy-buddy, feel free to ask questions. But don't go in guns blazing, like, I know you're cheating on me, you scum-sucking whore. Don't do that.
No. Would not recommend it. I've luckily enough have never been in a situation where I've had to be like, hey, is this happening? Like, there's been those instances, like, in the back of your head where you're just kind of like, is it? And then, like, eventually I was just like, oh no, this is what's happening, it's fine. Like, I was able to be like, oh, okay. Nothing was happening. What I do know it happens, and I've heard... and I'm gonna call them horror stories, but I've heard your stories about some stuff that's happened, and it's just like, ooh, it's just not good. And honestly, if you think something like that is happening, best bet, either talk to each other, and if you're scared it's gonna go bad, have a friend come with you, like, just so you got some moral support if it does go south. It helps. It goes a long way. But yelling at people really doesn't fix it.
I don't have a set number on how many rules there are here, but trust me, I have
Rule number 95?
No, it's not going to be that long. But,
I think you're on 6 or 7.
No, I think I'm on 6 or 5. I don't know.
It doesn't matter.
Rule 5 or 6, one of the two. Another rule. Trying to do not. Okay, this is a very and if kind of one, but
Okay.
don't defend her honor for her behalf.
Oh, you mean like let
She is-
her do it herself kind of ordeal?
She's her own person is kind of what it's tying into. But
Okay.
like, if someone is, this is going to be really hard to communicate, but if like, let's just say you're walking down the hallway with with your girlfriend at this time, and you notice that some guys are like looking over at her, checking her out, don't be that one guy that like stands up and be like, yeah, that's my girlfriend, what are you gonna do about it? Don't be that dude.
I mean, I've heard, again, I've never met any of them personally, but I've heard there are some girls that are like, yeah, I like a guy that can do that. And you know what? If you're already aware that she's into that, fine.
I would say get to know her a little more before you start.
It's one of those things
These are
where
more
it's like,
techniques.
be careful. Just don't.
Yeah, dude. These are more advanced techniques.
Get down from there. Get down. I don't want you up there. Get down. Awesome. Okay. Before I have a falling creeper on my head. There's another!
There's another?
Move! Move! My house is just a hotbed. Look, I know I'm the king of creepers, but please leave me alone.
But yeah, like, look, I get it. If you are dating someone at this time and you're like, oh yeah, well, she's amazing, she's a very nice lady, whatever. And she likes the tough guy attitude, like, and if someone is disrespecting your woman, a completely different story. Go for the fucking throat. That's what I say.
Yeah,
If someone is like casually like checking her out, as long as she's not checking the other guy out, I don't think you got a problem.
Well, also on top of that, if she doesn't feel uncomfortable, it should be fine. And even if later she's just like, no, that made me uncomfortable, just kind of just be like, hey, you want me to kind of like call them out? Because most of the friends I know is when a guy ends up calling them out, like, you checking out my girl, the girl feels more embarrassed than anything, and that's why it ruins it. And again, I'm not like a pro at dating. I've only dated a few people.
And I've dated multiple people and I'm still single, so I don't know how well this advice is gonna work out, but
someone's gonna be like, dude, I took your advice, we're married. And you're gonna be like, what? Like,
Rule
why am
number
I still
7
single?
Okay, so rule number 7, be mindful on who you're dating.
Mindful.
Be mindful. Like, I'm not saying people can never change, okay? That's not what I'm saying. But the past can predict the future, right? So pay attention to the conversations. If you're trying to get to know somebody and they're like, yeah, well, sometimes I get pretty depressed, and I don't want to put it like this, but I have no better like way to put it. Treat dating like a job interview.
I think I can see where you're going with this.
Yeah, you don't want somebody you want somebody who's perfect for the job, being around you, being a potential partner,
Literally like a best friend. Like that's kind of what you're looking for.
Yeah, if you are hanging around somebody who is constantly upset, who takes out her problems on other people, manipulates, cheats, you know the stereotypical people. You don't want to be around those types of people. Would you want to hire them for being your best friend for life? Like, come on.
No, I get where you're coming from with that. It's one of those things where it's like, if you honestly don't get along and you're kind of just with them because of like a different outside source, probably not a great relationship. I don't know. Some people I think can make it work, but
That's one of the reasons why I absolutely hate blind dating.
yeah, blind dates aren't fun. Avoid those. Just word of advice. If you want to take a risk and have some fun, sure, go with it. But blind dates kind of suck.
Go with it. Yeah. Tinder as well. I hate Tinder because of the same thing. Sure, you can pick and choose who you want to be with, but
I mean, is it really picking
only
and choosing?
It really is, in a sense.
Well, okay. See, here's my problem with online dating.